Hello, we're in one of our summer months here at Homegrown Veg in the United Kingdom, and it's blistering hot outdoors. It really is. It isn't usually this hot. Combine that with a dry spell, and if you're growing in bags and buckets, you really need to be on the ball. You really need to get round them with the watering can. And whatever you do, don't water the plant, water the soil the plant's growing in. You need to get that water into the bag, into the bucket. It's the best way for whatever's growing in there to take it up. Potatoes, tomatoes in a greenhouse, cucumbers, courgettes outdoors, whatever. Get the water onto the soil so that it gets to the root system. And so, yeah, and on that same vein about how important it is getting water onto plants and the fact that we're in a really dry, hot spell, it's important that we try to capture as much rainwater as we can when it arrives. Now outdoors, I've got 2 rain butts next to the greenhouse, and that catches some water. But I'd really like to catch a bit more, but I'm not minded to buy another water butt. I'm really not. You know, I don't want that expense. But what I've got a couple of recycling boxes, courtesy of our local council. They've either changed the colour, or changed the size, or changed the shape, but these have now become spare recycling boxes. And if you've got a recycling box, you'll know that there are holes in the bottom because these are not designed to hold water. So what I've done to make them hold water is I've blanked those holes off. I've used some gaffer tape and I've used some sealant. And so now they're watertight. And that's where this little beauty comes in. I've just made it. It's a siphon. Yeah. And I think all you really need to know about siphons is that one leg is longer than the other. There is some technical information that I could probably impart here, but it's pointless. If you're going to make one of these, all you need to know is one leg is longer than the other. And this is just simply an old piece of garden hose. And so to keep it in shape, I've actually just secured to it a strong piece of wire and bent it and taped it to the hose so it stays in shape. Now to make this work, we need to have more than one containment, and it's going to transfer water from one to the other. The reason I need to do that will become clear when we go outdoors. But what I want you to notice here is that there is absolutely zero expense to setting this system up. It's cost everything that you're going to see costs nothing. This costs nothing. The 2 recycle boxes cost nothing. There's 2 short lengths of guttering cost nothing. It costs nothing. I think I may have overdone that, the cost nothing business, but it did cost nothing. And it allows me to collect twice as much water because I can transfer automatically, using one of these things, water from a catchment box to a holding box. So I can save twice as much water when it rains. Now it's not raining, but to demonstrate this, I'm going to use a garden hose. I would advise you now, don't water your garden with a garden hose if you can avoid it. Why? Because you're wasting most of it. Most of it will stay on the surface and evaporate off, and the weeds will get a good drink. Use a watering can, put the effort into it, just like Gunga Din did during the war. You're a better man than me, Gunga Din, is something that my dad always used to say to me, and I never really understood it. But I do now. Okay, let's go outside and I'll set up this demonstration, and you may want to make yourself one of these. Come on then, I've got both dogs with me now. We've got Meg and we've got Daisy. Come on Meg, come on Daisy. Come on sweetheart. Yeah, we're going in the garden. This is my zero cost rainwater catchment setup. There are two ex-recycler boxes that have had the holes blanked off. The one nearest the camera is slightly lower than the one furthest away from the camera, and running into the one furthest away from the camera is some old guttering simply laid on the patio. The downspout from my property comes in to the other end of that guttering. That guttering is slid underneath that downspout so it can't direct rainwater into the stormwater drains. Rather, it directs it into that guttering, and that guttering directs it into one of those recycler boxes. Now clearly that recycler box will fill if there's enough rain, and what I'd like it to do then is to overflow into the box nearest the camera, and that's why I've made that siphoning device. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a garden hose in the top end of the guttering and turn it on to simulate rain being discharged into that guttering. It's a dry day today, but this will suffice for this little demonstration. This is how it would work. The guttering will direct the water into that top recycler box, and when that recycler box is nearly filled, what we'll do is we'll take the siphon and fill it full of water from that box. Now it's important that the siphon is full of water when we start the siphon off, and the action of the water falling out of the longer leg into the bucket nearest the camera causes that siphon to be set up. I'll try and go in closer when that happens so you can actually see the siphon working, but I'll leave the camera as it did for the time being, and I'll set up the hose into the top of the guttering, and we'll kick this trial off. Once the water in the top recycling box has reached a level above the short leg of the siphon, we'll be able to set the siphon up. And again, I'll try and zoom in a bit closer so you can see the siphon in action. But what we'll need to do, as I've already said, is to completely fill that siphon tube with water and simply put our fingers over each end and then take our fingers off once we get it in position, and it should start siphoning. Okay, we're ready to go. Let's see if we can make this work. So we want the longer leg in this bottom box and the shorter leg in the top box. I'm not too sure how this will actually turn out on video, but I can tell you that the water level in this bottom box is just starting to hit 4 inches now. Okay, I'll just go and turn the hose off, and then we'll watch this bottom box start to fill as it is now. We're just nearly on 6 inches, and because the water's turned off, or should I say because it stopped raining, the top box will start to get lower as the bottom box gets higher. Okay, we're on about 7 inches now. Well, the siphon's definitely working. Yeah. 0 cost. The siphon's definitely working. Now, because I'm gardening at home, what I would need to do is when it does rain, I will need to come outdoors to set the siphon up. But that's going to take a minute tops, and then I can go back indoors and just let it run away quietly on its own. It'll just keep going while there's water in that top bucket, and while it's being topped up, the siphon will keep transferring that water into the bottom bucket until I believe the 2 levels equalise. And the water transfer now is slowing down, and the bottom bucket now has 9 inches in there. I think what we'll do is we'll turn this hose back on again and transfer some more water into the top bucket and then down into the bottom bucket, into the top box and then down into the bottom box. Let's put it back on again. Siphon's still working, and we've just gone over 10 inches in this bottom recycler box, this bottom bucket. So this enables me to store twice as much water that comes off the roof of my property. And as I've already said, I have 2 water butts, but there's no way I'm spending more money on water butts, bringing more plastic into this garden. These plastic buckets are now recycled into water buckets, and that's the way we should be going. Use what we've got. Okay, so we're on 11 inches on this bottom container now. I'll just turn that water off again and let these 2 equalise. So once the 2 water levels in each of the recycler boxes become equal, the siphon will stop working. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this little demonstration. I hope I've inspired one or two of you to make these easy to make siphons. Make yourself one, make it work, and let me know if you do. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pack this camera away, and I'm going to start using this water on my buckets, in my bags and on my beds, because it really is warm here today at Homegrown Veg. It really is. And as I think I've said earlier in the video, we have had no rain for a number of days now. But I'm not looking to fill this up using domestic water. That's not what I'm about. I'm looking to fill these up using rainwater when the rain comes. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, a thumbs up would be nice. A subscription if you're not already subscribed. And send me a comment. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out.